Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Stephanie, co-founder of Airdomo. We've got Charles back on the mainland. I've been so jealous. He's been in Italy the last couple of weeks, and we've been doing our webinar with him touring all over the greatness of everything. So anyway, I think we can hear my frustration, right? We'll talk about your Italy trip next week, maybe, right? We'll bring it up.
Your turn is coming next.
I know my turn's coming next, but listen, you all, today I'm excited for today because today we're going to take you back to a place that we talked about way early on in our Airdomo webinar series. We're going to take you back to Turks and Caicos because a lot of people know Turks and Caicos as a holiday destination, okay? It's got the world-class beaches, clear water, there's phenomenal resorts. But here's what we're seeing: a growing number of serious investors are diving in, and a lot of lifestyle buyers who are treating it as something else entirely. They are there at getting a strategic asset. That is what they're there to do, okay? In a zero income tax jurisdiction with strong dollar, okay? This is what the returns look like. And we send this stuff out. So if you haven't signed up for our newsletters, make sure you do so, because we talk about the returns in some of these areas, and one being Turks and Caicos in general. And we're going to dive into a lot of those today. But Airdomo, we have hundreds of listings right now across a wide range of price points and property types. And Charles and I have been studying the market closely. And so today we want to break down exactly what you need to know before you consider buying. And we're going to dive into Turks and Caicos because what we're seeing there is some really good returns, and it's a great opportunity. So Charles, why don't you give us the market overview currently?
Yeah, absolutely. So here are the key points as we start to dive in. Turks is a British overseas territory, very stable legal system, no income tax, no capital gains tax, and very importantly, the real estate market is 100% US dollar denominated. So there's no currency risk, there's no friction there. It's a very easy place for that particular aspect. Grace Bay in particular ranked the #1 beach or the top 5 and lists all over the place. #1 on TripAdvisor, #1 on World Travel Awards. It just happens all the time. It's really one of the very top destinations in the world. And the market has seen consistent appreciation. Prime beachfront has roughly doubled in value since 2015. There are really 2 main buyer types that we see going into Turks. We have the rental investors on the Grace Bay side, and more of the lifestyle, long-term residential feel in the Chalk Sound and Long Bay side. Although there's some mix and match around there. That's the general trend. Definitely not an oversupply. On the island, there's the developable beachfront is limited, so the value is preserved in that sense. And one of the biggest points I think is that the demand from U.S. and Canadian and UK buyers is huge, and that's largely because of accessibility. You're 90-minute-ish flight from Miami, 3 hours-ish from New York, and you've got nonstop from Atlanta, Charlotte, Boston, Dallas, Houston, Toronto, Montreal, and part of the year from London Heathrow as well. So it's one of the easiest places to get to down in that part of the world. So a lot going for it, and those are kind of the fundamental structure that's driving the value there.
That's right. And let's start with Grace Bay. You mentioned that because for most investors, this is where the conversation begins. Grace Bay sits on what is consistently ranked one of the world's best beaches, like Charles mentioned, okay? It is sustained reality. Year after year, it is brought up in different publications. And so the area has been completely built for managed ownership, right? Hands-off ownership. Most developers here have built-in rental programs, right? So meaning you buy the unit, the management team handles the bookings, they handle the maintenance and guest services, and then you just collect your share of the revenue. So for an international buyer, that's a critical structure. You don't have to be on the island to run this producing asset. And so when you think about that opportunity, then you can take out, it's kind of what I tell people, it's mailbox money, but then you also have the ability to enjoy that asset as well. Charles, we have several listings right now in Grace Bay that are on Airdomo that fit this. Why don't you tell us about them?
Yeah, we've got quite a range too. I mean, everything from sort of the entry point, what I would consider a great place to kind of start looking is the Sands Resort in Grace Bay Beach. We have starting at 1.15 USD, direct ocean view, second floor, awesome return rate with the returns of guests coming back year after year. So super strong annual occupancy, very family friendly, great resort management program in place. So that's a great place to start if you're looking in that price point. A two-bedroom casita up at Point Grace in Grace Bay. That's a 2,000 square foot casita that's in a very elegant sort of residential grove, a little quieter. That's another gem that we've got on the Airdomo site. Then we go up to a really stunning beachfront luxury condo over 2,000 square feet, beach level with a plunge pool at the point. And this is the lockout configuration, which you mentioned, which is where you can really define when you want to use it. You get to use it exactly how you want to and earn money the rest of the time. So that's a great combination of lifestyle and income there. We have a phenomenal flagship 3-bedroom beachfront top floor at the Lauren at Turtle Cove. The Lauren is really a historically significant, well-known property, really kind of where it all started kind of property. It's located between a nature preserve and a marina. So really like an extraordinary spot with unobstructed views, like really a gem. And that's at just under 5 million. And then if you're really looking for like the trophy flagship unit, we've got the 6th level penthouse, 7.5 USD, 4 bedrooms. It's got a 38-foot wide balcony, oceanfront view, unobstructed. This is really like the most iconic address you can find on Grace Bay. Ultra prime. So if that's in your wheelhouse, definitely come in and check it out. So just to kind of recap, I mean, the range you're looking at Grace Bay, probably around 1 to, as we said, 7, 8 might be the very high end. Managed rental programs mean passive ownership is very, very easy, which is critical, of course, for international buyers. You don't want to be down there trying to figure it out yourself. Short-term rental yields can run 5 to 8% on prime units in those managed buildings. And that lockout model where you can use it exactly how you want to and earn the rest of the time is really, really appealing.
Absolutely. And I know what some of the audience is thinking. They're like, 7.5 million, come on, guys. No, it is reachable. Some of the nights in that condo, the nights per night is over $2,000 or $3,000 depending on season. Right. And so the return on these things do make that possible. So now let's talk about the other side of the market. Okay. And honestly, the side that I find really interesting because it's the lifestyle design perspective. So if Grace Bay is more about the rental yield and the proximity to all the amenities, Chalk Sound and Long Bay, that is something completely different. They're about space. Okay. This is where you can spread out. This is where you have privacy and a more residential quality of life. Okay. So you've got your neighborhoods and you've got your communities, but you're spaced out versus the condo concept. Okay. Chalk Sound is on that southwest side of the island. A protected turquoise lagoon dotted with small islands. And so you see this in pictures all the time on magazine spreads, almost no large developments, and a pace of life that feels genuinely removed from the entire resort strip, right? You just completely feel like you're getting that entire island lifestyle. You're going there to relax and probably prolong your life, right? Because we're just getting rid of that stress. And then Long Bay is on that south east quarter beach or quieter beach, and it's less infrastructure, but that's the point. They've done less infrastructure because these are the communities for people who are spending serious time on the island. They're not just visiting for a week or two at a time. They're spending months at a time there. So let's look at what's there, Charles, because I love these places.
Yeah, exactly. And as you said, this is the lifestyle play. This is where you get away from it a little bit more, and it really is a comfortable place to spend not just a couple weeks, but maybe a couple months or a season, whatever works for you. But this is a really beautiful spot to do it. So just a few examples of the hundreds that are on the Airdomo site. We've got urban villas at Long Bay. This is a modernist beautiful, future forward sort of design, but in a very small community in a very quiet stretch of Long Bay. It's only 4 villas and it's 2.2 million USD. It's a really sort of a great retreat that also preserves a sleek design sensibility to it. So you kind of have the best of the both worlds there. On Providenciales, we have a 3 villa oasis right in the heart. It's 2,800 square feet, 900 square feet of exterior set on Flamingo Lake, which is a really nice inland waterfront. So this is a bit bigger. This is a lot of privacy, not beachfront, but you still have that water access. So it's terrific there. And it's only 1.7 million USD. And then the sanctuary at Flamingo Lake. This is a private collection of estate residences right in the heart, and it's considered it's considered a very, very desirable point for extended stays, especially. So if you're going down there for the longer, say, seasonal or maybe month-long trip, the sanctuary is a great spot for that, and that's just over 2.2 USD. So again, Chalk Sound and Long Bay, they're the lifestyle play. They're not necessarily the yield vehicle that Grace Bay is, but it's certainly still there. But it's really more considered, where you might go to really spend your time and absorb it. Appreciation potential is really strong as the island continues to the private continues to rise. The rental demand today is probably less predictable, but I think that's going to change as the island continues to evolve. Lower price per square foot for sure than Grace Bay. So a lot of good value can be found here. Your money goes a lot further. You're going to get something a little bit bigger, perhaps, or a little bit more finished at a higher level. But again, the ideal buyer here is someone who's probably looking to spend a month to maybe a season in the year, or longer, and really kind of dig in and enjoy that part of the island.
Absolutely. And look, there's a third area that we have to mention, okay? And that's Turtle Cove and the Marina District, right? You can't be in the ocean and surrounded with all these islands without access to boating, okay? So there's an entire Marina District. And this is different, again, from Grace Bay or Chalk Sound. It is an active boating community, and it attracts a specific kind of buyer, someone who wants proximity to the water and the marina views, the yachting culture, and a mix of residential and commercial energy give it that character, okay? The Lauren residents at Turtle Coast specifically are worth highlighting because they've brought a level of architectural quality to this area that didn't previously exist. And Charles, again, on Airdomo, we've got so many cool marina listings, and I know that we've got 2 that you want to touch on because they're actually pretty good buys.
They I think, represent extraordinary value. We've got a 3-bedroom townhome at the Yacht Club for just 1.4 million USD, and that's got 3 full bedrooms, 3.5 baths with 3 stories, panoramic marina views from almost every single room. So it's really an extraordinary value, an extraordinary property worth checking out. Another terrific one is at, as you said, the Lauren at Turtle Cove. This is just under 4 million. This is a really, as we said, a historically significant, unbelievable placement. This is a marina front, so you're getting that, that marina side, and it's a resort grade finishes. It's like an extraordinary prestige property in that unique area. And because we're talking about so many different areas and so many sort of walks of life, it's worth probably looking at who is Turks really right for. So I think that we have a few different buyer profiles that we've talked about, that we've seen. Passive investor income, wants the U.S. denominated yield, doesn't want to manage anything, happy to use a couple to weeks to maybe a month a year. That's Grace Bay all the way for the most part. The Sands at that one just over $1 million price point is a great entry point for that. Next buyer is the lifestyle level, which maybe wants a bit more time. That's the month to a season or coming back a few times during the course of the year. Values the privacy, doesn't necessarily need the rental income, fine to have it, but it isn't going to drive the purchase necessarily. That's the Chalk Sound, that's the Long Bay, and that's a sanctuary. Then we have the third type of buyer, which is just that flagpole prestige trophy asset buyer. That's perfect for the penthouse at the Point, the Lauren top floor unit that we mentioned. This is just going to be a statement property with, really genuine scarcity. They don't come around all the time. Worth checking it out for sure if that's your wheelhouse. And then there's a fourth type of buyer, which we haven't really touched on yet, which is the tax structure. The Turks zero income tax and capital gains framework makes it an attractive destination for buyers that are trying to build a global tax position, and that's worth talking about in depth with with a qualified advisor if that's your ultimate objective.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's great detailed information, Charles. And I mean, look, the one thing I always say to buyers considering Turks is the question isn't whether the island is worth it buying in, because trust me, it is. If you put your feet there, you're going to want to stay there. But also the data is quite clear. The question is, what are you trying to achieve? Because the market has very distinct zones and property types. And so that's what we help you do, is we put you in the proper product, right? Because there's so many different opportunities in Turks and Caicos, which is why it has remained extremely popular. This is why it has consistently appreciated over time, doubled in value since 2015, because you do have so many opportunities as to how you can live and achieve and do different things there. A lifestyle buyer in a heavily managed resort condo, you feel like you're living in a hotel, a resort community with people taking care of you. You're being pampered. A yield investor in a private villa at Chalk Sound, finds that they can't keep the bookings coming. I mean, that the match matters. That's what our concierge team does. That's what we do. We make sure you're in the right zone, the right structure, and the right building for what you're actually trying to do. So, to bring all of this together, Turks and Caicos, it's not a single market. Which is rare for islands, right? Because usually you go to an island, you get the same thing no matter what part of the island you're going to. But Turks and Caicos is not a single market. It's 4 or 5 distinct submarkets on one island, each serving a different buyer. Grace Bay for yield and resort living, Chalk Sound and Long Bay for privacy and lifestyle, Turtle Cove for the marina community. And all of that underpinned by United States dollars, which is great. No income tax, genuine scarcity of premium supply, and there's a tourism draw that has proven remarkably consistent. And that's what we know is safe. So we have over 500 Turks and Caicos listings on Airdomo right now. Every zone, every price point, and a whole lot more than what we've discussed and shown with you today. So go to airdomo.com, take a look, and then click that button and get a concierge call with us. We'd love to discuss what is your goals, because we'd like to make that happen. Charles, I think this was a great episode, and I love that we shared these properties today.
Absolutely. Definitely hop on to airdomo.com, because there are hundreds more to check out, and they're truly beautiful and they're truly worth your time.
Awesome. See you all next Wednesday. Bye.
Bye.